Hey, Algebra 2. So this is going to be your Unit 2B review. So the first thing that we learned in this unit was talking about function notation as well as different operations of functions. So we're going to start with number 1. So we've got f plus g. So we're just going to take f, which is x squared plus 6. We're going to add that to g, which is 2 minus x. Okay? So then you got to remember that we're going to combine our like terms. Well, nothing can be added to x squared. And then we've got this negative x. Nothing can be added to that. 6 plus 2 is going to give us 8. And we already have it in standard form, so we're good to go. All right, so on number 2, we've got h minus f. So we're going to take h, and we're going to subtract what f is. Now remember, when you've got this negative out front, you're going to distribute that negative to these other things. So we've got x squared minus 3x plus 4 minus x squared minus 6. So these will cancel out, and I'll be left over with negative 3x, and 4 minus 6 is going to give us negative 2. Okay. On number 3, we've got multiplication. So we have h, which is x squared minus 3x plus 4. And we're going to multiply that times x squared plus 6. So remember, when we do this, we're going to multiply each individual thing times this other stuff over here. So for for x squared at times x squared, that's going to give us x to the 4th. Negative 3x times x squared is going to give us negative x to the 3rd. 4 times x squared is going to give us 4x squared. And then we're going to do 6 times all of that stuff. So 6 times x squared is going to give us 6x squared. 6 times negative 3x is negative 18x. And 6 times 4 is going to give us 24. And then we're going to combine our like terms. Well, this can't combine with anything, so we're going to bring them down. This can't combine with anything, we're going to bring them down. We've got 4x squared and 6x squared, which is going to give us 10x squared. Negative 18x plus 24. Okay? On number 4. This one always tripped everybody up on that first quiz. So remember, we're going to take g, and we're going to divide it by f. Okay? So then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that there's no negatives or nothing in the bottom that's going to make this undefined. It can't be 0. So we're going to take x squared and set it equal to 0. We're going to solve. And if we take the square root of both sides, remember, in that first unit, we learned that if we have a negative underneath the radical, that's going to give us an imaginary number. So we're going to put 2 minus x divided by x squared plus 6. And we're going to say where x cannot equal positive and negative 6i. Okay? All right. I'm going to erase these so I have enough room. And then on number 5, we've got f of g. Now remember, you're going to see this kind of like this as well. These are the same things. So f of g. So we're going to write f out first, and then we're going to take g and plug it in. So we've got so this over here is really like saying 2 minus x times 2 minus x plus 6. We're going to multiply this out, so that's going to give us 4. I'm sorry, there shouldn't be a parentheses there. It's going to give us 4 minus 2x minus 2x plus x squared plus 6. Remember, we want this in standard form, so this is going to give us x squared minus 4x plus 10. And number 6, you actually have the exact same thing. The only difference is that there's a number right here. So this is going to give us 4 substituted in. And when we do that, we're going to get, this is for number 6, we're going to get 16 minus 4 times 4 plus 10. 16 minus 16 will be 0 plus 10 is going to give us 10. Okay, so that's your AKS 43/45. Okay, and that's just talking about function notation and how to create those, and also talking about composition of functions. So we worked on word problems a little bit, but not a whole lot, but just kind of want to touch base on this one. So it says the weekly cost of producing lunch at South Gwinnett High School is a process written out as C of X. The cost is given by $40 base salary for workers and $3 per plate created. Okay, there are 100 lunches that are created per hour modeled by a function x of t. Create the function c of x and x of t. What is the composition of c of x of t? So let's start with c of t, or c of x. So this first little sentence. Okay, so c of x. So we get a base salary of $40. If we don't make any kind of plate creation, we're going to have $40. That's how much we're going to make. But if we do any kind of plate production, we're going to do 3 times x. X is going to represent each plate. Now let's talk about x of t. We got 100 lunches that are created per hour t. So we've got 100 lunches per hour t. Okay, and now we're going to do this composition. So c of x of t. So we're going to take c, which is 40 plus 3x, and where we have x, we're going to plug in 100t. Then we're going to simplify. And voila. Okay. And this, honestly, this is how most of your word problems are going to be. Okay. On the next one, we got to find the inverse of the function. So remember, finding inverses means that we're going to switch our x and y. So on this first question, we're going to switch our x and y. And then we're going to solve for our y. So x plus 4 equals 6y. We're going to divide by 6. So this is going to be x plus 4 divided by 6. Or you might see this as 1/6x plus 2/3, because that'll simplify 2/3 equals y. Okay? On level 2, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to switch our x and y. And now we're going to get rid of this 5 in the denominator by multiplying it by 5 on both sides. So this will be 5x equals 4y plus 11. We're going to subtract 11 on both sides. This is going to give us 5x minus 11 equals 4y. We're going to divide by 4 on both sides. And that'll give us y equals 5x minus 11 divided by 4. Or you might see this as 5 over 4x minus 11 over 4. And you could have these as mixed numbers. It's okay if you want to do it either way. Now, level 3 asks you to find the domain and range of the inverse of the graph. Now, here's the deal. I'm not going to probably ask you this question, but it's a good thing to know, especially for your SAT as well as pre-cal or anything like that. So, domain and range is talking about your x and your y. Now, if we're finding the inverse of that, we're actually going to switch our domain and range. But first, we're going to find the domain and range for this function. Your domain runs from left to right, where it's all real numbers. So that's going to be from negative infinity to positive infinity. Your range also goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. And remember, if we do the inverse of that function, then we're just going to switch our domain and range. Well, fortunately for us, it's the exact same thing. So your final answer is still going to be negative infinity to positive infinity for both, since it's linear. Now, if you're struggling with domain and range, we are going to have that next unit is going to be over a lot of graphing. So make sure that you're ready for that, okay? All right, and last little section that we talked about was actually finding inverses and then applying that concept of the composition. So really quick, on this one, it says find f to the negative first power of x. This is saying find the inverse function, okay? So we're going to have f of x, which is 2x minus 12, or you could write it out as this and make my life a little bit easier. And then we're going to switch our x and y, and then solve for our y. I don't know why I put 12 or 11. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. I'm going to divide by that 2. So that's going to give me 1/2 x plus 6. And that's our f to the negative first power. Oops. Sorry. Okay. And then the second one says, find the composition of it. So we're going to take the original function, and then we're going to plug in the composition, or the inverse function into that. Okay, so I'm going to take the original, which is 2x minus 12, and I'm going to take the inverse and plug it in. So when I do that and I multiply out, I get x plus 12 minus 12, and that'll give me x. Okay. Problem 2. Okay, so you're going to find the inverse function. So we've got y equals 1/2 x plus 6. I'm going to switch my x and y. Solve for y. And in order to get rid of that 1/2, I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. Okay, and then it says to take the function and plug in the inverse. Okay, so this is my inverse. And we're going to take the original. Original was 1/2 x plus 6. We're going to take this function and plug it in. So when we multiply, we get x minus 6 plus 6. These will cancel. I get x. So what do you notice about h and h to the negative first power? Those are inverse functions, and this is proving that the composition of them shows that they are inverses of each other. So you can check and make sure that, if you weren't sure that your inverse is actually your inverse, then that's one way to check it. All right, so that's all I have for y'all. So make sure that you go back through those and then go ahead and start looking at your midterm review. Good luck.